Every morning, before the sun fully rises, millions of people around the world wake up to the same sound, an alarm clock. Some hit the snooze button. Others jump out of bed immediately, already thinking about everything they have to do before the day ends. Outside, the roads begin to fill. Buses, motorcycles, trains, and cars all move in the same direction. Coffee shops open their doors. Street vendors prepare for another long day. Office lights switch on one by one. It feels like the world is waking up with one purpose: to go and earn money. We spend years preparing for this moment. As children, we're told that if we study hard, get good grades, and find a good job, everything else will fall into place. Success will follow. Happiness will come. Financial security will take care of itself. So we believe it. We work hard. We sacrifice. We chase promotions. We work overtime. We tell ourselves that next year will finally be easier. But for millions of people, something strange happens. The harder they work, the further financial freedom seems to move away. The salary arrives. For a brief moment, there's relief. Then reality takes over. Rent, electricity, water, school fees, transport, food, insurance, loans, a few unexpected expenses, a birthday, a medical bill, a repair you didn't see coming. And before the month is even halfway over, the money is gone. So we tell ourselves the problem must be that we don't earn enough. If only I got a better paying job. If only I received a promotion. If only I had just a little more. But here's the uncomfortable truth. There are people earning 10 times more than you who still struggle with money. There are athletes who earned millions and went bankrupt. There are lottery winners who became poorer than they were before winning. There are celebrities who seem to have everything, only to lose it all. At the same time, there are ordinary teachers, small business owners, nurses, farmers, mechanics, people with average incomes who quietly build wealth over decades. How is that possible? If income alone created wealth, wouldn't every high-income earner become financially free? Clearly, something else is happening, something most of us were never taught. The truth is, money isn't just about numbers. It isn't just about mathematics. It isn't even just about working hard. Money is about behavior. The decisions you make when no one is watching, the habits you repeat every single month, the emotions that influence every financial choice you make. And until you understand those behaviors, it doesn't matter how much money passes through your hands. Keeping it will always be a struggle. Today we're going to uncover 10 money mistakes that silently keep millions of hardworking people trapped in the same financial cycle year after year. Some of these mistakes may surprise you. Some may challenge beliefs you've held your entire life. But if you're willing to listen with an open mind, one idea in this video could completely change the way you think about money forever. Welcome to Financial Freedom Hub. Let's begin. Let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone who earns twice as much as you, yet somehow they're always broke? Maybe you even know someone who seems to have everything. A good salary, a nice car, the latest phone, designer clothes. Every time you see them on social media, it looks like they're living the dream. But behind the scenes, they're drowning in debt. They're one missed paycheck away from a financial crisis. Now think about someone else. They don't wear expensive brands. They drive a modest car. They rarely show off. You almost never see them bragging online. Yet year after year, they become more financially secure. Why? How can two people with similar opportunities end up living completely different financial lives? Let's go even further. Imagine two friends. They graduate from university together. They get jobs in the same city. They earn almost the same salary. 10 years later, one owns investments, has savings, and sleeps peacefully at night. The other is trapped in loans, stressed about every unexpected expense, and wonders where all the money went. What changed? Was one simply luckier? Was one smarter? Or did one understand something about money that the other never learned? The truth is, financial success isn't determined by how much money passes through your hands. It's determined by what happens inside your mind before you spend it. Every purchase tells a story. Every investment reflects a belief. Every financial decision is shaped by habits you've built over years. That's why two people can earn the same income and end up with completely different futures. Because money doesn't just reveal your financial situation, it reveals your behavior. And behavior can be changed. Today we're going to uncover 10 money mistakes that quietly keep millions of hardworking people trapped in the same cycle. As we go through them, I want you to do one thing. Don't think about your neighbor. Don't think about your friends. Don't think about the rich. Think about yourself. Ask yourself, have I ever made this mistake? Because recognizing the problem is the first step toward changing your financial future. And I promise you this, by the end of this video, you'll never look at money the same way again. Before we talk about the 10 mistakes that keep millions of people broke, we need to understand one simple truth. It's a truth that isn't taught in most schools. It isn't discussed in many families, and surprisingly, many adults spend their entire lives without ever realizing it. The truth is this: money is more about behavior than intelligence. Think about it. If becoming wealthy only depended on being smart, every university professor would be a millionaire. Every doctor would retire wealthy. Every engineer would become financially free. But that's not what we see. Some of the smartest people in the world struggle with money, and some people with average education quietly build fortunes over time. Why? Because knowledge alone doesn't create wealth. Behavior does. Imagine someone who earns a good salary. Every month they promise themselves they'll save, but then they see a discount, a new phone, a fashionable outfit, a weekend trip. They tell themselves, I deserve this. One purchase doesn't seem like much, but then another comes, and another. Months become years. Without realizing it, they've spent thousands on things they barely remember buying. Now imagine another person earning the same salary. Before spending a single coin, they save first. They invest a little, then they budget what's left. The difference isn't intelligence, it's behavior. Money isn't emotional. People are. Fear makes people sell investments too early. Greed makes people chase quick riches. Pride makes people buy things they can't afford just to impress others. Impatience makes people give up before their investments have time to grow. Every financial decision is influenced by emotion. And if we don't learn to manage those emotions, money slips through our fingers no matter how much we earn. That's why this video isn't just about making more money. It's about changing the habits that determine where your money goes. Because when your habits change, your financial future begins to change too. And that brings us to the first mistake, one that almost everyone makes without realizing it. The more you earn, the more you spend. Imagine this. You receive the biggest salary increase of your life. You check your phone. The salary notification pops up. For a moment, you feel like you finally made it. You smile. You start imagining all the things you can now afford. A better phone, a bigger television, a nicer apartment, a newer car, more weekends out, more online shopping. After all, you've worked hard. You deserve it. But here's the question. If your salary doubled today, would your savings double too? Or would your expenses simply grow to match your new income? This is called lifestyle inflation. And it's one of the biggest reasons people stay broke no matter how much they earn. Think about your own life. Have you ever bought something simply because you finally had enough money? Not because you truly needed it, but because you could? Most of us have. And that's exactly why this mistake is so dangerous. The more money we make, the more we convince ourselves that we deserve a more expensive lifestyle. The sad part is, the excitement of buying something new rarely lasts. A new phone feels exciting for a few weeks. A new car feels amazing for a few months. A bigger house soon becomes normal. Then we start wanting something even better. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. We quickly get used to the things we once dreamed about, and then we start chasing the next upgrade. It's a cycle that never ends. Imagine two friends. Sarah and Brian both receive a salary increase. Sarah immediately upgrades her lifestyle. Brian decides to keep living the same way for one more year. Instead of spending the extra income, he saves part of it. He invests another part. 1 year later, Sarah owns more expensive things. Brian owns more financial freedom. Who do you think is richer? Here's something wealthy people understand. When their income increases, their investments increase first. Their lifestyle comes later. That's a small difference. But over 10 or 20 years, it creates a completely different future. So before your next salary increase, or before your next bonus, ask yourself one question. Will this purchase make me look richer, or will it actually make me richer? That single question can save you thousands. Not everything you own makes you rich. Let me ask you another question. If someone drives a luxury car, lives in a beautiful house, owns the latest phone, and wears expensive clothes, would you automatically assume they're wealthy? Most of us would. That's because we've been taught to judge wealth by what we can see. But appearances can be incredibly misleading. A person can look rich and still be drowning in debt. Another person can live modestly while quietly building millions in investments. The difference comes down to one simple idea: assets and liabilities. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket or grows in value over time. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket month after month. Think about a rental property that earns income. That's an asset. A business that generates profit. That's an asset. Investments that grow over time. Those are assets. Now think about a brand new luxury car bought on a loan. Every month, there's the loan payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, repairs. The moment you drive it off the showroom floor, it starts losing value. Ask yourself, is it making you money or costing you money? The same question applies to almost everything you buy. Before making a purchase, ask, will this put money into my pocket or take money out of it? That one question has guided many financially successful people for years. Here's a story. Imagine two friends, David and Peter. Both receive a bonus of 200,000 shillings. David buys the newest smartphone, upgrades his furniture, and takes a luxury holiday. Peter buys a second-hand laptop, learns a valuable skill, and invests part of the money into a small business. 5 years later, David has memories and possessions that have mostly lost their value. Peter has a skill that earns him more, income and an investment that's still working for him. Neither decision was made in a single day, but over time, those choices created two completely different financial futures. This doesn't mean you should never enjoy your money. It doesn't mean you should never buy nice things. It simply means build your assets first, then let your assets pay for your lifestyle. The wealthiest people don't buy expensive things to look successful. They buy income-producing assets first, and those assets eventually fund the lifestyle everyone else sees. That's a completely different way of thinking, and it leads to a completely different life. The biggest cost of chasing easy money. Imagine this. You're scrolling through social media after a long day. Then you see someone your age. They're standing beside a luxury car, holding stacks of cash, taking expensive vacations, wearing designer clothes. The caption says, "I became a millionaire in just 6 months." Suddenly, your own progress starts to feel slow. You begin asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? Then another video appears. Someone promises they can teach you how to double your money in a week. Another claims you can become financially free with almost no effort. Before long, you're convinced that real wealth is supposed to happen quickly. But here's the truth that nobody likes to hear. Real wealth is usually boring. It doesn't happen overnight. It grows quietly. One good decision at a time. One investment at a time. One skill at a time. The people who become financially successful rarely do it because they found a shortcut. They do it because they stayed consistent long after everyone else gave up. Think about planting a tree. On the first day, nothing changes. After 1 week, it still looks the same. Even after 1 month, you may not see much difference. But beneath the surface, the roots are growing. Years later, that tiny seed becomes something strong enough to provide shade for generations. Money works the same way. At first, progress feels invisible. That's why so many people quit too early. Or worse, they start chasing shortcuts. They jump from one business idea to another, one investment to the next, one trend after another, always searching for the fastest path to wealth. But in reality, they're starting over again and again. Imagine two friends. James spends every month chasing the latest get-rich-quick opportunity. Today, it's cryptocurrency. Next month, it's sports betting. Then it's a scheme promising unbelievable returns. Every year, he starts over. His friend Grace chooses a different path. She learns one valuable skill, builds a small emergency fund, invests consistently, improves her knowledge. Year after year, her progress seems slow. But after 10 years, the difference is extraordinary. James has stories. Grace has wealth. Here's something worth remembering. The time will pass anyway. 5 years from now, you'll still be 5 years older. The question is, will you have spent those 5 years chasing shortcuts or building something that lasts? There are no shortcuts to lasting wealth, only habits, discipline, patience, and the courage to keep going when progress feels slow. That's how real fortunes are built. Not overnight, but over time. The habit that separates the wealthy from everyone else. Let me ask you one more question. When your salary arrives, who gets paid first? Your landlord? The electricity company? The supermarket? The bank? Your internet provider? Your loan? Now think carefully. When was the last time you paid yourself first? For most people, the answer is never. Every month money comes in, and almost immediately, it starts flowing out. Bills, rent, transport, food, entertainment, shopping. By the time everything is paid, there's almost nothing left. Then we tell ourselves, next month I'll save whatever remains. But here's the problem. There is almost never anything left. Because spending expands to fill whatever money is available. That's why so many hardworking people spend years waiting for the right time. to start saving. They think, I'll save when I get a promotion. I'll save when my children are older. I'll save when life becomes easier. But life always finds a way to present another expense, another emergency, another reason to postpone. The wealthy think differently. Instead of saving what's left after spending, they spend what's left after saving. It's a small change in habit, but it creates a massive difference over time. Imagine two employees earning exactly the same salary. Every payday, Mary spends first and hopes to save later. John automatically transfers just 10% of his salary into savings before paying for anything else. At first, the difference seems tiny. 1 month passes, then another, then another. 5 years later, Mary is still wondering where her money went. John has built an emergency fund, started investing, and gained something priceless. Peace of mind. Here's the truth. Paying yourself first isn't about how much you earn. It's about making your future a priority, even if it's only a small amount, even if it's just a few hundred shillings. The habit matters more than the amount, because every time you save before you spend, you're sending yourself a powerful message. My future matters. Imagine planting one seed every payday. One seed doesn't look impressive, but after years of consistency, you've grown a forest. That's exactly how wealth is built, not through one huge decision, but through hundreds of small decisions made over and over again. So the next time your salary arrives, before anyone else gets paid, ask yourself one question. Have I paid my future first? That one habit could completely change your financial life. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will disappear. Imagine getting into your car, starting the engine, and driving for hours without knowing where you're going. No destination, no map, no plan. You'd probably waste fuel, waste time, and eventually end up somewhere you never intended to be. Now here's the surprising part. Millions of people do exactly that with their money. Every month they earn an income. They spend what feels urgent. They buy what catches their attention. They pay whatever bill comes next. Then, at the end of the month, they ask the same question. Where did all my money go? The truth is, your money didn't disappear. It simply followed the direction you gave it. Or more accurately, the lack of direction. Money needs a plan. Not because you're poor, not because you're rich, but because every shilling has a job. Imagine two families earning exactly the same amount every month. The first family wakes up on payday excited. They start spending immediately. A meal here, a new outfit there, a few online orders, some entertainment over the weekend. Nothing seems excessive, but by the third week of the month, stress begins to creep in. The second family does something different. Before spending anything, they sit down together, they write a simple plan. This amount is for food. This amount is for transport. This amount is for savings. This amount is for investing. This amount is for emergencies. Now something incredible happens. They don't have more money, but they have more control. And control creates confidence. A financial plan isn't about restricting your life. It's about giving every shilling a purpose. Think of your money as employees working for your business. If your employees arrive at work with no instructions, some will stand around doing nothing. Others will make costly mistakes. The same happens with your income. If you don't assign every shilling a purpose, it will quietly disappear into things that don't move your life forward. Now here's a challenge. The next time you receive your salary, don't spend the first hour shopping. Spend the first hour planning. Ask yourself, what does this money need to accomplish before my next payday? When you start asking that question every month, you'll notice something remarkable. Your money begins working for you, instead of controlling you. Remember this. A budget doesn't limit your freedom. It protects your future. The goal isn't to know where your money went. The goal is to decide where it will go before you spend it. The financial safety net that most people build too late. Life has a habit of surprising us, not always with good news. Sometimes, your car breaks down on your way to work. A family member suddenly falls sick. Your phone stops working. Your business has a slow month. Or without warning, you lose your job. None of these moments send you a message beforehand. They simply arrive. And when they do, they don't ask one important question. Are you financially ready? For many people, the answer is no. So what happens? They borrow from friends. They use credit cards. They take expensive loans. Or they sell something they worked hard to own. Not because they were irresponsible, but because they weren't prepared. Here's the truth. An emergency isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Think about it. If you own a car, one day it will need repairs. If you have children, at some point there will be unexpected expenses. If you run a business, there will be slow seasons. Life is unpredictable. That's why financially wise people don't just hope everything goes well. They prepare for the days when it doesn't. Imagine two neighbors. Both lose their jobs on the same day. The first person has no savings. Within weeks, panic sets in. Bills pile up. Stress grows. Every decision is driven by fear. The second person has an emergency fund covering 6 months of essential expenses. Do they enjoy losing their job? Of course not. But they have something priceless. Time. Time to look for the right opportunity. Time to make thoughtful decisions. Time to avoid desperate choices. That's what an emergency fund really buys. Not just money. Peace of mind. Many people believe they need to save a huge amount before starting. That's not true. Your emergency fund begins with the first small deposit. A few hundred shillings. A little every payday. Month after month. The amount grows. More importantly, so does your confidence. Because every shilling you set aside today is one less reason to panic tomorrow. Remember this. You don't build an umbrella when it's already raining. You build it while the sun is still shining. An emergency fund works the same way. The best time to prepare is before life tests you. Debt can build wealth or destroy it. Imagine walking into a store. You see the phone you've always wanted. It's more expensive than you planned. But the salesperson smiles and says, "Don't worry, you don't have to pay today. Just pay a small amount every month." It sounds harmless. After all, it's only a small monthly payment. So you agree. A month later, you buy something else, then another. Soon your salary hasn't changed, but your monthly obligations have every payday. Part of your income already belongs to someone else. This is how bad debt quietly takes control. Now let's be clear, not all debt is bad. If you borrow money to build a profitable business, to invest in an education that increases your earning potential, or to purchase something that generates income, that debt may help you create wealth. But borrowing money to buy things that lose value, that's a different story. Think about it. A brand new phone starts losing value the moment you begin using it. A fashionable outfit eventually goes out of style. Many luxury items become worth less over time. Yet, you're still making monthly payments for something that no longer holds the same value. You've probably heard people say, "I can afford the monthly payment." But here's a better question. Can you afford the total cost? Because every loan comes with more than just the purchase price. Interest, fees, stress, and sometimes lost opportunities. Imagine two friends. Both receive access to the same loan. Daniel uses the money to buy expensive electronics and luxury items. A year later, those items are worth much less, but he's still paying the loan. His friend Esther makes a different decision. She borrows carefully to expand a small business that earns additional income every month. Years later, Daniel owns old gadgets. Esther owns an income-producing business. The difference wasn't the loan. It was how they used it. Debt is like fire. Used wisely, it can cook your food. Used carelessly, it can burn your house down. That's why financially successful people don't ask, "Can I borrow?" They ask, "Will this debt improve my financial future? Or make it harder?" Before signing your next loan agreement, pause for a moment. Ask yourself one simple question. Will this purchase make me money? Or will I spend years paying for something that keeps losing value? That one question could save you from years of unnecessary financial pressure. The cost of waiting is higher than you think. Have you ever said something like this? "I'll start investing when I earn more money." Or maybe, "I'll begin next year, after I finish paying my loan. When the economy improves. When I know more." If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of people spend years waiting for the perfect moment. But here's the problem. The perfect moment almost never arrives. There will always be another bill, another expense, another reason to postpone. And while you're waiting, time keeps moving. Now imagine two friends. Faith is 25 years old. She decides to invest a small amount every month. Not because she's rich, but because she understands something important. Starting matters more than starting big. Her friend Kevin makes a different decision. He says, "I'll wait until I'm earning more." 5 years pass. Kevin finally starts investing. But those 5 years, they can never be recovered. Because investing isn't only about money. It's also about time. Time allows your investments to grow. Time allows your returns to earn more returns. Time is the one thing no investor can buy back. Think of planting a mango tree. If you plant it today, you may not enjoy the fruit tomorrow. But years from now, you'll be glad you started. If you wait 5 years before planting, you'll also wait 5 extra years before enjoying the harvest. Money works the same way. Many people believe they need thousands of dollars before they can invest. That's simply not true. Successful investing isn't about making one huge deposit. It's about building the habit of consistency. A small amount invested every month can grow into something meaningful over time. The amount may seem small today, but habits have a way of becoming powerful. Here's another truth. Many people spend hours trying to predict the perfect time to invest, but history has shown something interesting. Consistently investing over many years has often mattered, more than perfectly timing the market. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to keep moving forward. So ask yourself this question. 1 year from today, would you rather say, "I'm glad I started," or "I wish I had started last year"? Your future self is depending on the decision you make today, because the greatest cost isn't making a perfect investment. The greatest cost is never beginning at all. Looking rich isn't the same as being rich. Let me ask you something. Have you ever bought something not because you truly needed it, but because you wanted other people to notice? Maybe it was a phone, a pair of shoes, a watch, a car, or even a house that stretched your finances to the limit. If we're honest, most of us have done it at least once. We live in a world where success is often measured by what people can see. Social media is filled with luxury holidays, designer brands, expensive restaurants, perfect-looking lives. Day after day, we're told that if we don't have these things, we're somehow falling behind. But here's something worth thinking about. The people you're trying to impress are usually too busy worrying about their own lives. Tomorrow, they'll scroll past another photo, another car, another vacation, but you'll still be making the monthly payments. That's the trap. We sacrifice our future to create a moment of approval that lasts only a few seconds. Real wealth works differently. Many financially successful people don't look wealthy at all. They don't feel the need to prove anything. Instead of spending money to impress strangers, they invest quietly. They save consistently. They build businesses. They buy assets. And over time, those choices give them something far more valuable than attention. They gain freedom. Imagine two colleagues. Both receive the same annual bonus. Alex immediately upgrades to the newest phone and buys designer clothes. For a few weeks, friends admire the new purchases. Photos get likes. Compliments come in. Then life moves on. Sarah receives the same bonus. She keeps her current phone, invests part of the money, adds to her emergency fund, learns a new skill. 5 years later, almost nobody remembers Alex's phone. But Sarah has built a life with more choices, less stress, and greater financial security. Here's a question that changed the way many people think about money. Before buying something expensive, ask yourself, am I buying this to improve my life? Or to improve someone else's opinion of me? Because those are two very different reasons. Remember, looking wealthy may impress people for a moment, but becoming financially free will change your life forever. Choose freedom over appearances every single time. The life you want is built by the choices you make. Let me leave you with one final thought. Have you ever looked at someone who seems financially successful and quietly thought, they're just lucky? Maybe they started a successful business, bought their dream home, built investments, or retired comfortably. From the outside, it can look like everything happened overnight. But what we see is only the final chapter. We don't see the years of sacrifice, the weekends they stayed home instead of spending, the small investments they kept making when nobody was watching, the books they read, the skills they learned, the mistakes they recovered from, the discipline they practiced every single month. Success rarely arrives like lightning. More often, it arrives like a sunrise, slowly, quietly, almost unnoticed. Until one day, everyone can see it. Financial freedom isn't something that happens to a few lucky people. It's something that's built, one decision at a time, every time you choose to save instead of spend. You're building it. Every time you invest in your future, you're building it. Every time you avoid unnecessary debt, you're building it. Every time you learn a new skill, you're building it. None of those decisions seem life-changing on their own, but together, they shape your future. Now think back to the beginning of this video. We met two different kinds of people. One kept chasing appearances. The other quietly built a foundation. Years later, one was still running after money. The other had reached the point where money started working for them. The difference wasn't luck. The difference was thousands of ordinary decisions made consistently over many years. And now, the same choice belongs to you. When this video ends, nothing around you will change immediately. Your salary may be the same. Your bills may still be waiting. Your responsibilities won't disappear overnight. But something much more important can change. The way you think. And when your thinking changes, your decisions begin to change. When your decisions change, your habits change. When your habits change, your future changes. Remember, financial freedom isn't reserved for perfect people. It's built by ordinary people who keep making better decisions, one day at a time. So don't ask yourself, how can I become rich overnight? Instead ask, what decision can I make today that my future self will thank me for? Because that one decision could be the beginning of a completely different life. If this video changed the way you think about money, don't let the lesson end here. Choose one mistake from today's video and commit to changing it this month. Write it in the comments below. I'd love to know which lesson spoke to you the most. And if you believe someone you care about needs to hear this message, share this video with them. Because financial freedom doesn't begin with more money. It begins with better decisions. If you're ready to keep learning how to build lasting wealth, subscribe to Financial Freedom Hub. We're not chasing quick riches. We're building real financial freedom, one lesson at a time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.